New horror story. Inside the Vatican Secret Archives, I found something terrifying. My name is Father Gabriel Moretti, and I am writing this confession from the hidden archives beneath St. Peter's Basilica. In 3 hours, Cardinal Toretti will discover what I've done, and they will either execute me or make me disappear like the others who learned about the Hereticus Maledictus. Either way, the world needs to know the truth about the Vatican's most guarded secret. I was assigned to the Secret Archives 6 months ago, tasked with digitizing centuries-old manuscripts. My credentials in ancient languages and theological history made me the perfect candidate for what Cardinal Toretti called delicate preservation work. What he didn't tell me was that I would be cataloging evidence of the Church's greatest failure. The Hereticus Maledictus, the cursed heretics, were 7 priests who disappeared in 1347 during the height of the Black Death. According to official records, they were martyred while ministering to plague victims in remote villages across Europe. The truth, buried in documents marked with seals I was forbidden to break, was far more horrifying. The 7 priests had been sent to investigate reports of miraculous healings occurring in plague-stricken areas. What they found was a demon calling itself Morbus, who offered to end the plague in exchange for the Church's acknowledgement of its divine authority. The priests, desperate to save lives, agreed to a binding ritual that would make them vessels for Morbus's power. The demon kept its promise. Wherever the 7 priests traveled, the plague retreated. Entire cities were cleansed of disease in a matter of days. But the cost became apparent when the priests began changing. Their healing touch became corrupted, curing physical ailments while damning souls. Those they healed would live long, healthy lives, but their capacity for good withered away, leaving them as vessels for pure malevolence. The Vatican realized their mistake when reports reached Rome of entire populations turning to cannibalism, infanticide, and unspeakable acts of cruelty in the wake of the priests' miracles. The Church sent assassins, holy warriors trained specifically to hunt demons and their human servants. 5 of the cursed priests were killed, and their bodies burned with sacred oils, but 2 escaped. Father Matthias Kolb fled to the German countryside, establishing a monastery where he continued his work under the guise of treating spiritual ailments. His methods involved ritual torture and psychological breaking designed to purge sin through suffering. The monastery operated for 3 centuries before the Church finally located and destroyed it, but not before Kolb had trained dozens of acolytes in his techniques. The second survivor, Father Ignacio Vega, disappeared into the Spanish colonies, where he founded a network of missions that practiced what he called salvation through submission. Indigenous populations were subjected to ceremonies that combined Christian baptism with demonic possession, creating armies of the spiritually enslaved who spread Morbus's influence throughout the New World. What terrified me most was discovering that the bloodlines of both priests' victims carry a hereditary mark, a spiritual corruption that manifests in their descendants. The Vatican has been secretly tracking these bloodlines for centuries, maintaining detailed genealogical records and monitoring families across the globe. That's when I found my own name in the files. My great-great-grandfather, Alessandro Moretti, was listed as a Class 4 hereditary infernal influence, descended from the Vega colony, bloodline compromised 1756. The documents detailed how my family had been watched for generations, how certain members had been quietly recruited into church service to keep them under observation. I wasn't assigned to the secret archives because of my qualifications. I was assigned because I carry the mark of Morbus, and Cardinal Toretti wanted to see if the corruption would manifest under exposure to the demonic texts. It has. For the past month, I've been experiencing what the documents call Hereticus symptoms. I can sense the spiritual condition of everyone around me, their sins, their secrets, their capacity for evil. Worse, I can influence them. A whispered suggestion, a meaningful look, and I can guide people toward their darkest impulses. The janitor who cleans the archives hasn't been home to his family in weeks. He spends his nights in the tunnels beneath the Vatican, collecting bones from the ancient catacombs for reasons he doesn't understand, but feels compelled to pursue. The other archivists have begun confessing increasingly disturbing thoughts to me, as if my presence draws out their hidden corruptions. Sister Catherine admitted to fantasizing about poisoning the communion wine. Brother Antonio showed me sketches he's been making of ritual sacrifice performed on the Sistine Chapel altar. I can feel Morbus stirring in my blood, awakening after generations of dormancy. The demon speaks to me in dreams, showing me visions of what I could accomplish with its power. Entire congregations kneeling in worship not of God, but of the darkness I could unleash. Cathedrals converted to temples of spiritual torment where faith becomes a weapon of damnation. Cardinal Toretti has been watching me, waiting for this moment. The Vatican doesn't want to stop the Hereticus Maledictus. They want to control it. 7 centuries later, they're still desperate enough to bargain with demons if it means maintaining their power. But I won't be their vessel. I've stolen the 7th seal. The binding that originally gave Morbus its hold over the cursed priests. In 1 hour, I will break it in the center of the Sistine Chapel during midnight mass. The demon's power will be released, but without human vessels to contain it, it will dissipate back into whatever hell spawned it. The explosion of released demonic energy will likely kill everyone in the Vatican, myself included. But it's better than allowing the Church to weaponize 7 centuries of accumulated spiritual corruption. If you're reading this, it means someone survived to find these documents. The Vatican will claim it was a terrorist attack, or structural collapse, or divine intervention. Don't believe them. Sometimes the only way to save souls is to damn yourself. Ad maiorem Dei gloriam. Thank you for listening. If you really like the story, please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more daily horror stories. Thanks.